are all the industries that are supposed to be for the people but are actually profits over people? First off, we have healthcare. You don't want to get sick. Don't get sick. Don't get sick. Next off, we have charities where the actual funds barely go to the actual cause. Colleges where they have you do unnecessary courses so that they can get more money from you. The food industry, so toxic, so delicious. Yum. Prisons, rehabilitation, want you to be better for society? No. Instead, what we're gonna do is put the non-violent and the violent population in the same place so that the non-violent have to learn to be violent in order to survive. Because that is the way we rehabilitate people. Yeah. And as a bonus, we get free prison labor. Isn't that great?
Hello everyone, this is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
I think I'm going to start a segment called Profit Over People, because in business, I am just infinitely shocked how many times businesses pick profit over people. It's easy when you own a business, when you're looking at the scoreboard and figuring out matrix and stuff, like what are your metrics? What are you aiming for? The only real scoreboard that matters is revenue, right? It's like, how much money do I bring in? And when you look at something so singularly, it's easy to become a sociopath because you forget about all of the people that it takes to make that money. You know, you've got people involved in the sales process and the marketing process and all of that. Your staff, but then you also have your customers, and those are people too. Whether it's a business or direct to consumer, it's always people. But for some reason, some businesses are just like, screw it, people over profit. CEO of United Healthcare was gunned down in broad daylight, and no one gave a fuck. Not even United Healthcare. They continued with the meeting, with their key executive being murdered right outside the door, and reposted his job, just proving the point that they are people over profit. And then you have another health insurance company, no better, Blue Cross Blue Shield, saying, hey guys, we're not going to cover all of your anesthesia during a surgery that goes beyond some certain arbitrary time limit that we set when we have absolutely no ability to control what happens in an OR. It's just absolutely maddening. Wow. Like, if you are a small business owner, don't get caught up in these really horrific business practices that we're seeing play out, because you can make a lot of money, but you can also treat your employees well. You can pay them well. You can treat your customers well. There is the right way to do business, and it's the way that allows you to sleep at night and not be the reason why someone remembers that bullets are cheap. Be better.
So I'm here at the VA again because this is where I work. Change that. I worked past tense because right now it's 2 o'clock and I just got notified that my position is no longer valid, and so I am going to go turn in my laptop and go home. Again, my performance was not good enough, even though when I talked to my boss, everybody I work with, including my boss, absolutely loved the work I was doing. But it was nice being here, helping out veterans every day, day in and day out, and doing a good job for my fellow patriots. It sucks, I'm not a Trump supporter, never have been, definitely never will be. But yeah, this is definitely taking a meat cleaver to the entire federal government. And I know my specific position, I was helping veterans and their families seek end-of-life services, mainly making burial arrangements on their behalf, and actually doing funeral services for them. So yeah, it was actually a rewarding job, and look forward to having a good career doing something impactful, and I guess that's just not going to happen. So I'm gonna go turn in my laptop and call it a day. And so I just wanted to say again, thank you, Trump. Thank you, President Musk. Let's make America great again, and fire everybody who is a hardworking, somebody who just wants to do a good job for the country and be a good employee and help out. So, yep, going home, and wish me luck in the job hunt.
What I find frustrating about these layoffs that have been happening since 2023 is that these companies, most of them make billions in profit each year, even each quarter, and also have billions in cash reserve, and still, make the decision to do layoffs despite, having so much, money, and they can definitely steamroll a lot of people's salaries if they wanted to. But I get that, they have to, justify the shareholder value. I completely get that, it's a business at the end of the day. But it's just very, very frustrating to see, because they spread this rhetoric that, the employees are family, they care about us, they value us, but we're nothing more than a number on a financial statement, That's just the reality of it. I wish there was more protection for employees from layoffs, but it's just tough. It's a brutal reality we live in, and I hope things get better end of the year. We'll see.
So how's this for insurance? Thousands of people die every single day in the United States waiting for an organ. Now, some organs can come from living donors, but some of them have to come from a dead donor. And in order to harvest organs from a dying donor, you have to essentially keep the body alive until the teams are in place to harvest the organs to take them to the recipient. So imagine a family in their greatest time of grief making a decision to donate their loved one's organs, only to find out they're going to receive a bill from the insurance company for a couple of $1,000s to keep their loved one alive long enough to harvest the organs. So then they can't honor the wishes of the dying, and they can't honor their own wishes by donating the organs, because they can't afford the bill they're going to get for keeping the person alive long enough to harvest the organs. So then not only does the person die and they don't get their wishes met, all of the people who could have used those organs, they die too. Now, the average cost of keeping someone alive until organs can be harvested, it is about $3,000. $3,000 is absolutely nothing to these multi-billion-dollar insurance companies. However, they won't cover the cost. One organ donor can save up to 8 lives, and they can also donate tissues and other things to up to 75 more people. So let's just take into consideration the 8 people that could die who don't get the organ if they can't harvest them. Insurance companies are saying that 8 lives are less important than them getting their $3,000 or so dollars. That is what people are sick of. You have billions and billions and billions of dollars, and you do not think the lives of 8 people are more important than $3,000.
Some days I hate my industry so fucking much, and today is one of those days. I was checking the stock prices for our country's biggest war profiteers. These stocks are soaring. That's not really a big surprise. We all know who profits from war, and it's defense contractors like General Dynamics, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, and Raytheon. And then, of course, the politicians they finance. While I was looking, I was served up this article, which honestly made me feel physically sick. And I want to be clear that this is nothing new in the grand scheme of shareholder capitalism, but that doesn't make it any easier to stomach. This article on Seeking Alpha, which claims to be the world's largest investing community, celebrates General Dynamics, which is one of the big 5 defense contractors, as a top-tier dividend stock with improving tailwinds. A tailwind, of course, is a wind that moves in the same direction as an object. It is a boost. Many paragraphs later, it finally names the tailwind they speak of, which is the war between Israel and Hamas. So let me translate. The indescribable suffering of innocent people, families, children, at the hands of the largest military in the world is a great improvement in conditions for those looking for investment profit.
When I was young and naive in corporate, I thought that I could be the change. I thought that I could come in with my big ideas and my generalist prowess and create meaningful impact. What I didn't realize is that I was signing up for a traumatic relationship. Now, I used to call myself a free-range employee. I never sat still in role. I took on projects all over my company, in different orgs, and reported up through multiple different executives. I moved in alignment with my values, and I chased what I thought mattered. And what that ended up giving me was crippling anxiety, burnout, and a lot of disappointment. Because when I was told that things like culture and innovation are important, I believed it. I didn't know that that was bullshit. I didn't know that all of that stuff was just for optics. I didn't know that there was such a deep values misalignment between me and corporate. Like I said, I thought I could be the change. And I certainly didn't know that absolutely everything a corporation does is for the shareholders. In fact, I know you're familiar with memes and videos that say things like, think of the shareholders. But are you familiar with the actual shareholder theory, the Friedman Doctrine? Written by Milton Friedman in 1970, that fundamentally changed the course of how corporations do business. And you can see the tone of it right here in the title. The social responsibility of business is to increase its profits. This document says that a company's primary objective is to increase profits and maximize shareholder returns. Everything else ranks well below that priority. Things like corporate social responsibility, corporate culture, none of it matters. So the sole purpose of being a corporate employee is to serve the bottom line, is to literally be a hamster on the wheel, a number on the payroll. And when you exist in corporate, your career is not yours. Your career belongs to the shareholders. They are the ultimate puppeteers. And that's how I knew I was never going to be the change. If I wanted to do meaningful work that I care about, that I have ownership over, I had to leave. I had no other choice. But leaving was the best damn decision I ever made.
Profits over people is the actual American motto. Profits over people. Capitalism. It's capitalism. It values capital and money above everything else. The free market puts capital in charge of everything, that if it makes money, it goes. And so people need to understand, it's obvious, and it's literally always been this way, that the U.S. government's main primary function is to enable big business and rich people to make money. It's never been to help people. I mean, slavery, think of that. It's the ultimate expression of profits over people right next to war. Right. And so, of course, they could do that. But the problem is BlackRock and Vanguard and all these companies own the majority shares in literally every product you see in the grocery store. And so the crisis happens, inflation goes up, and they will see no reason to bring those prices back down. They'll never go back down. That's why they're offering us all the off-brand stuff. So they raise the prices to astronomical levels on the branded stuff. Then they sell us the Kroger private selection stuff for like even, you know, what would seem like a good deal because they've jacked all the other stuff up, but it's still even higher, right? And wages stay flat as usual. And so they could legislate any of this, but they call that socialism. I mean, people don't understand, like I was saying yesterday or a couple days ago, who the people who have been in charge of our financial life have been. They're Ayn Rand stands, Alan Greenspan saying that he thinks the biggest consumer protection is greed. I mean, Ralph Nader would like a word on that. The biggest consumer protection is suing the fuck out of companies who don't take care of their customers and damage them. It's not greed. Obviously, greed. It's so crazy, but I mean, little did we know we had Gordon Gekko running the Federal Reserve. And all the presidents, Democrats and Republicans, all getting in line to this Ayn Randian greed is good, rich people should be able to pay no taxes and decide to just fund their little pet projects and have all these galas and all this stuff instead of just paying taxes. I mean, it's crazy, but this is the country we live in. The country is not actually here to like enable poor people to do anything but go to work, literally, and starve.
Profits over people. When these firms make record profits, they still lay off people. How does that work? You've already made the money. You have already made the shareholders happy. What else do you want? Oh, right. You lay off more people, and that's more money in your pocket. I just don't understand, honestly. You beat the game. Quarter after quarter, year after year. Fantastic.
This comment signifies a key problem we have. We are not directing our anger, our rightful anger, because I agree, a lot of people have every right to be annoyed, to be angry, to be jealous, to be envious. We're not directing it at the right people. As opposed to being angry at your fellow workers, yes, they might be earning more than you,
but they too are a few paychecks away from being homeless. Majority of us workers are living relatively paycheck to paycheck. You lose your high-paying job today, you probably have 4 months before you need to get another one, or else your bills are going to rack up. Instead of being angry at the establishment and the major corporations who are just laying workers off, these are high-paid earners, yeah? Let's imagine. If they can do that to them, what do you think that means for low-paid workers? We need worker solidarity across the board. So this anger, this jealousy is hugely misdirected. It's not workers' faults.
A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
So a lot of people have been talking about how Party City is closing all of its stores down. This is going to result in over 16,000 people losing their jobs, but also Big Lots is closing all of their stores. They employ over 27,000 people. 2024 has been extremely difficult on the working class, especially if you work in the tech sector. In 2024 alone, 539 tech companies laid off over 150,000 employees. Then, as federal funding is drying up for schools across the country, there are teacher layoffs all over the nation. Here's just one screenshot talking about different articles of layoffs. Here is another screenshot with more articles. And here's another screenshot as well. So you can see just it's all over the nation. Not only that, we have the uncertainty of the TikTok ban looming over our heads. There are going to be millions of content creators losing out on secondary income. There's going to be tons of businesses who rely on TikTok for their sales, book authors who rely on TikTok. So forgive me in not believing the bullshit that our economy is doing well when only the rich are doing well. Everyone else is struggling. And don't forget, the biggest risk to the billionaire class is becoming a member of the working class.
Okay, so everyone knows that the job market is super tight right now and like nobody's hiring because everyone's doing layoffs. But can we talk about how they're not necessarily not hiring? They're just not hiring in the US. Like so many of these companies are outsourcing to cheaper countries, which is so messed up in so many ways because they cannot afford to keep and obtain US talent. And like I've seen this everywhere across so many industries where it's like they're hiring in countries where the cost of living is much lower. More and more US employees are getting laid off because it is so like unlivable here for everyone. I just think that's so messed up. Like stop driving inflation up so that it is this way. And second, do you know how insulting that is to the outsourced employees? Like I really think it's just a slap in the face to everyone. And sadly, I don't think companies are going to stop because they don't care about us.
I need someone with a little bit more of a rational brain to tell me if I should be concerned or not. Because as someone that went through layoffs previously and has been at a company that threatens layoff pretty often, I am always very scared of everything. But this one, it feels fucking alarming. We were asked to put together an overview of every single thing we've worked on last week with the exact amount of time we spent on each task. I'm talking down to like the 15-minute mark. The rational side of me is like, hey, maybe they just want to know what you're working on. I'm also like, well, we do meet 3 fucking times a week to talk about it, so they definitely already know. It just drives me nuts that companies do these things and they know that this is going to put fear in employees because they've had so many layoffs, yet they don't give them anything to cure that anxiety. Instead, they know it'll make them work harder. And for the companies that just lay people off without blinking an eye, they don't even give a shit about the fact that years down the line, those employees are still going to be dealing with that same PTSD. I hear myself and I want to slap myself because this is so stupid. I'm also on the verge of a panic attack. So, do you think I'm getting laid off or am I just needing to take a fucking chill pill?
Let us know.
Apparently, when your boss calls to tell you that you're getting a 37 cents an hour raise and that you should be excited about it because it's one of the larger raises that your company is offering, the proper response is not to tell her that your benefit costs actually went up so much for next year that you're taking a significant pay cut. Yay, capitalism.
So I want you to consider this comment with an impartial mind and without your party. Okay, I need you to take party all the way out of this and I just need you to listen. And I need you to consider what I'm saying. So Joe Biden is talking about taxing billionaires at 25%. And while some of you are like, yeah, tax the rich, tax them. Okay, I want to take you to 2 major strikes that happened last year. The LAUSD strike, and if you don't know who LAUSD is the second largest school district in this country. And then the UPS worker strike. And there were other strikes in between, but I'm gonna talk about those specifically because there were some ramifications specifically for people that are trying to A, get a job there, or B, trying to keep their job. So with the LAUSD teacher strike, when everybody got their salary increase, they pretty much froze, right? Not directly hiring teachers, because now they can just get a sub for cheaper, and they don't have to hire you. Plus subs, you don't have to pay medical for them. So you could be a day-to-day sub for LAUSD, make less, and they don't have to cover you. Or the UPS worker strike, where in January they started laying people off. Of course they're going to pay you more, but then the people they're going to lay off are going to be a way for them to give their shareholders their share of the profits. Because ultimately, businesses do what? They want to make profit. And if you're asking for more money, then that cuts into their profits. So they're just going to cut you out of the formula so that they can get more money, or they're going to pass it on to the consumer. What do you think is going to happen when they start taxing billionaires that have multiple businesses where humans work? They're either A, going to do the Elon Musk move and start going AI, robotic route, or B, they're just going to downsize, right, and have less people doing more things but not paying you more. I just want you to consider this, because a lot of you are like, yeah, in the background until it's your job. Because the billionaire is like, I'm not concerned about you, I'm concerned about my profits. Put in the comments, because I can't wait to hear this.
Working corporate in a bear market can be very mentally taxing, because even if you're doing a great job, you can still get laid off. And a prime example of that is Tesla's recent layoffs and how they laid off the entire supercharging team, which I thought they were doing a great job. They, won over General Motors and Ford, and essentially now all EV cars, will be using the supercharging network by Tesla. I feel like that's a huge win. And yet, the whole team got laid off. There's probably reasons financially, and it just goes to show, if you're replaceable, you're going to get replaced, or you're going to get fired. Even if you're doing a great job. Or if you've done a great job and you're in limbo, you're still going to get laid off. If they crunch the numbers and they realize that it's cheaper to, essentially hire people later on, they'll do that. Just to essentially pump the stock up and make the shareholders happy.
Okay, are you ready for this? Because I'm ready to talk about the lies that you've been fed, because I'm done arguing in circles with people who would rather justify corporate greed and suffering than admit that the system is broken. It's, again, not about left or right. It's about basic fucking needs. They say healthcare isn't a human right because we don't have the right to somebody else's labor. Okay, then why does my labor, my tax dollars, pay for corporate bailouts? Why does it pay for endless wars for politicians who do nothing for us? If we can fund a war and billionaires, we sure as hell can fund basic healthcare for the people who keep this country running. They say we can't afford it, but we can afford $886 billion for the military. We can afford to hand trillions to banks and corporations. No, it's not that we can't afford it. It's that they don't want us to have it, because keeping people sick, desperate, and drowning in medical debt keeps the rich in power. They say it's not fascism, it's just capitalism. But when the government and corporations work together to strip away your rights, exploit your labor, and control what you can afford, that is fascism. When they convince you to blame your neighbor instead of the billionaires who are robbing you blind, that is fascism. So let's also talk about the private insurances too, because even if we are not on Medicaid and we are paying hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars in private insurance, they are still denying your care. Insurance companies are using AI algorithms to mass deny claims, rejecting people in seconds without even reviewing medical necessity. They're exploiting loopholes to refuse you coverage and your procedures or medications and life-saving treatments, even though you are paying for those coverages. So tell me again how this isn't about greed. Tell me again how we should just work harder, or that we don't have the right to everything that we are already paying for. And the wildest part is that people are still out here defending a system, arguing for multi-billion-dollar insurance companies so that they exist solely to take your money and refuse your care. Wake up, people. It's not about the marginalized. It's not just about Medicaid. It's about all of us. Every single person in this country is being robbed by a system that values profit over people. So no, I will not argue in circles anymore. If fighting for healthcare, fair wages, and human rights makes me woke or makes me wrong in your eyes, then fine. Call me whatever you want, but at least I stand for something. At least I fight for people, not corporations. At least I fight for the future and not the power of the elites who want to keep us divided. And if you're tired of being silenced, tired of being gaslit into accepting that the system is designed to exploit you, then it's time to speak up, because that's the only way we win. We do not win by staying quiet.
Man, she has a lot of passion. I love to see it. But she's absolutely right, honestly. We have to speak up and speak out against stuff like this. It has gone too far. Making a lot of money is good. It's great, actually. But at the expense of everybody else, of other people, that is where I personally draw the line. Earn the most amount of money that you can. But if it removes other people's rights and your firm starts to screw other people over, that I am not okay with. There has to be a certain limit on stuff like that. We can't let it slide. We just can't.
It should be completely illegal and utterly offensive to our sensibilities to deny life-saving medical care or to provide it at bankrupting rates to increase shareholder value. Now, deep down we know this, right? Our collective response to a certain healthcare CEO's grisly demise is a testament to this. Capitalists, though, convince us that letting people die in order to deepen the pockets of shareholders and the capitalist class is logical, natural, praiseworthy even. Capitalism, instead of, maximizing human flourishing, which should be the goal of society, seeks only to maximize profit. It's an abhorrent and violent system that needs to be brought down by any means necessary. And hypothetically, if we lose a few more CEOs along the way, well, thoughts and prayers or, what
People should be paid a livable wage because they all have value. This stratification of different jobs is just so detrimental because you are basing the value of a person, like a human being, based on what they do as a profession. You're saying that this person in an office building is much more important and much more valuable than this person who works at a gas station. Even though without people working at gas stations, none of us would be able to drive anywhere, and it would heavily impact our modes of transportation in this country. And this is one part of capitalism that is one of the grossest to talk about, because these people literally only see humans as valuable if they are contributing to the economy, and that they're contributing to the economies in very specific ways. So that then allows them to devalue a ton of people and justify not paying them a livable wage. People working well above full-time, people breaking their backs, breaking their bodies to provide a good or a service to the masses. And those are the people that we're talking about in this conversation. Those are the people that these people, like this commenter, do not value at all. You should be paid based on the value of your product. You should be paid appropriately because you have value as a person. Period.
As CEO, there's only one thing I care about, and that's profit. No. All you CEOs out there, I'll tell you what to do instead. It's three things. Culture. Build the culture in your company. Build it to be a positive culture where people like to come to work. 2 is career advancement. Show your people a way that they can go up into the right in their careers at your company. And 3 is a place where people can do their best work. If you do these 3 things, the people will build your business.
I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.